you all, this is E-Man Booze. Boy, did we put a dent in this bottle here of whiskey this weekend. And I'm glad we did, because it's nothing short of miraculous. And when we get done our review this evening, you're going to understand what makes this bottle of whiskey here so special. As a matter of fact, sometimes in life, and I'm just speaking in general terms here, you got to be a little bit defiant and go against the grain, so to speak. You got to be a pioneer and an innovator. And the owner of this here distillery that manufactures this product, he is just that. His name is Tim Ferriss, and he's the founder of Blue Ridge Distilling Company out of Bostic, North Carolina. And before he got into the whiskey making business, he started a business that he still runs today called Defiant Marine. And what they do, it's a whole bunch of guys, they're salvage divers, and they respond to a lot of disasters. And, you know, all over the world they go. And heck, they even own Lloyd's of London's call list. And what they do, they change fate with metal, fire, water, and intellect. And they use these same virtues to create this here whiskey, because there's a lot of parallels between the two industries. And it's their defiance and going against the norm that sets them apart from everybody else. And we're going to talk about how the nuts and bolts of this whiskey are made here. It's called Defiant Single Malt, or American Single Malt Whiskey. So something kind of akin to a Scotch, but it's made right here in the States. So the time-honored traditions of Scotch making are honored here, okay? But it's this innovative way that they get the spirit into the bottle, actually the way they make the whole spirit before they even put it in the bottle, that sets them apart from just about anyone else in the whole craft spirits industry. So let's get into it. How is it made, and what does it taste like? And I put some in a glass a couple minutes ago, so we're going to let it air out so that we can do the normal nose up and taste up. Alright, now, ingredients. 4 simple ingredients. Barley, water, yeast, and wood, and that's it. Let's get more specific. They use a 2-row brewer's pale malt from Breeze. It's the same malt that's used by a lot of the great craft breweries around the country. It's the highest quality malted barley out there. Okay, so that's the first ingredient. Then they use pure spring water from an aquifer that's located beneath the distillery. No filtration of water necessary. That's another good thing. They got a specially cultivated yeast that Tim has worked quite some time on to develop. And last of all, and here's where a lot of the innovation comes in, is the way that they age the spirit. It doesn't go into a barrel like you see here. Instead, the wood goes into a container or a stainless steel tank that actually holds the spirit. And the wood, when it's entered into the stainless steel container, does all the aging in a miraculous amount of time. And I can't tell you how much time, but put it this way, it's less than a year. And look at that color for less than a year. How do you do this? It blew my mind when I talked to Tim today and learned how the spirit was made. But I'll tell you, he's on to something here. And this could be so revolutionary, it could change the way other craft spirit producers make their spirits. So this is a good thing. Alright, now, so we get, so we know the ingredients. So what you got to do is, you got to take this malted barley, and he cracks it on a specially designed meal. Okay, and that meal, crack the grain open to let the enzymes become available for the yeast to get to them to convert all the starches and the sugars. Once you get the sugar, the yeast can eat up the sugars and everything, and they make alcohol. Okay, so after he gets the grains cracked, they get them soaking in some water, heated up and everything, and use a traditional mash and a lauter tun, just like the great breweries use. So essentially what he's doing is making beer without hops. Alright, and when he gets done his beer, he pitches the yeast. Now it takes something about like a week for the yeast to do all its magic, but it gets in there and converts all the sugar into alcohol, and he ends up with a distiller's beer, or more particular, kind of like a barley wine. It is a beer like a barley wine without the hops, and this barley wine is something like 11.5, 12% alcohol. He takes that barley wine and sticks it in his 1,000 liter Cota hybrid steel, and he run it through the steel, and there's a couple rectification plates on top of the steel. So what that does is, in a number of hours of time, it helps produce the alcohol. And once he gets that alcohol, it goes into a stainless steel tank. Now he does this for a whole week, and he does 2 of these cycles a day. So it takes about 10 of these cycles, about 5 days worth of getting alcohol made through the steel to fill up this 350-gallon stainless steel tank. Okay, now we got that far. The only thing we got to do now is age the spirit. So instead of using a barrel like you see here, like mostly everybody else does, they don't do that. They use chunks of wood. And in particular, they use something called wood spirals. And I need to come around here and show you what these look like. So let's get into this here so you can see, and so that you can really understand exactly what's going on here. Alright, now, this is what the spirals look like. You can see they come in 4 different levels of toast. So they got a light toast, a medium plus toast, and a heavy toast. Now these are air cured. They're not charred with a high flame or anything. They just toasted nicely. And what you end up with here, and this is what's really cool. What you end up with here, and this is a little diagram that shows how this works, is a continuous spiral. That's what you see over here. It's only 1.5 inches wide. See that up here? 1.5 inches wide. And they come in different lengths. And but what it is on the outside of each of the spirals, like you see here, okay, that's what they call your side grain. Now that's traditionally what's in regular whiskey aging barrels, and that's what the spirit's exposed to. But they heavily charred on the inside. These are not heavily charred. But what you get here in the middle, all the surface area here on the top and the bottom, is what they call the end grain. And the end grain is very porous. So what happens is the spirit gets wicked up, just like water gets wicked up to go up to the tree branches, you know, through the branches up to the leaves. The spirit get into all these pores, and then these spirals, these toasted spirals, can sink down into the tank and do their wonder. And because of so much surface area, it takes a fraction of the time. They say it's something like about 8 times faster aging than what's in a barrel. And I can tell you, in less than a year, he's coming up with a bottle of whiskey that has all the wonderment of the oak in it. Take my word for it. This is crazy. This is revolutionary. He don't even buy no aging barrels because he don't need them. He just has a bunch of stainless steel tanks. In a couple months' time, bam, in the bottle he goes. It's pretty damn incredible if you think about it. Because everybody in the craft spirits world is fighting over themselves to get these here barrels for aging. And then sometimes it takes 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and longer years to develop a spirit to maturity. So what Tim's doing is doing all that in a fraction of the time without having a whole rick house full of barrels. Crazy, isn't it? And it works. It works. I mean, this is so innovative and so revolutionary. If more people start doing this, the barrel industry better watch out, because I'm telling you, they on to something here. Alright, so now we got through all the nuts and bolts of how the spirit's made. Okay, there's something else here that we got to talk about is when he runs his spirit through the steel, okay, and he's extracting all his alcohol, he makes very judicious cuts. He throws the heads away, and he leaves a lot of the tails behind, a lot more than a normal distillery does, a whole lot more. I can't tell you quite the number, but he takes a big chunk of it out. So those tails stay behind. So he's got something like maybe 50-60% of the whole run as the hearts of the spirit, and that's what goes into the stainless steel tank. Now, the tails are not wasted because there's one final distillation where he takes all the tails and distills them and takes the hearts out of the tails and gets them in a stainless steel tank. So it's real special, his technique here. And after the spirals do their work, spirit goes in the bottle and is done. And that's it. Now, what does all this do? Aside from aging the spirit quite quickly, rather, it gives you a real balanced whiskey. And Tim said, you know, he didn't want something that was over oaked. He didn't want something that was too spicy. He didn't want something that was too, you know, overly floral or overly licoricey or overly whatever you think of when you think of the different flavor profiles in whiskey. He just wanted balance. He wanted everything to hit your palate all at one time. Everything from the floral tones to the fruit notes to the vanilla and the toffees and the caramels and the chocolate tones and the coffee tones and the earthy tones. He wanted that all to be real nice and balanced. And folks, it's in the glass. Exactly like that. Let's nose her up and taste her. And I'm sorry I'm so long-winded on this. I am just so excited about this technique. And after getting through this here bottle, I'm loving it more and more every day. And come Friday, I'm going out to get me another bottle. So I'm telling you that right off the bat. Alright, now, let's nose her up, see what we're picking up in the nose. Smell just like, a lot like Scotch. Little different though, but it's got that almost like peatiness. You know what I'm talking about, peatiness. And here's another miracle. The malt is not dried with any peat, so there's no smoke that gets to that malt. And Tim claims that the peaty characteristics are inherent in the malt grain, and that's what gets into the spirit through the whole process of maturation. So you're picking up that classic kind of like Scotchy type of nose. It's wonderful. You can pick up vanilla tones in here. You get some nice fruit notes. A little bit of apple here. Teeny bit of citrus, like a little lemon peel. Excuse me, I'm fighting this daggone cough here this evening. But you're picking up a little bit of anise tones here. Some earthy notes. Really, really just beautiful on the nose. It's only 82 proof or 41% ABV. So not real hot neither. It's just very smooth and very well balanced. Let's get in the palate and see what she's all about. I'm just about speechless on this thing here. All the cereal goodness of the barley, the vanilla notes, the toffee tones, the caramel tones, little hint of the anise on the back note, the cocoa, the bitter dark cocoa notes, a teeny bit of coffee in there, the citrus rind. Man, it's just, I'll tell you one thing, I love Scotch, but have you seen the price of Scotch these days? Scotch is like, it's crazy, it's off the charts. You buy an 18-year-old Scotch, it's going to cost you over $100 99% of the time. You get a 12-year-old, it's way over $50 most of the time. This, less than $45, and more likely a lot of people selling it for right around that $40 mark. Heck, I'd pay easily more than that for this quality spirit. And you know what? There ain't no caramel color, because that's a dirty little secret of Scotch producers. They stick caramel color into the Scotch because they allowed to. None of that here. Just the water, the barley, the yeast, and the wood, and that's it. This is so delicious. It's so well composed. A little bit of that medicinal note that you get from the peatiness and Scotch is in there too. I'm picking up something like a little bit of a dark cherry note in here too. It's just astronomical. mean, I'm scratching my head when I think about how this here spirit's made. And I hope more craft distillers are paying attention to what Tim Ferriss is doing down at Defiant. And I hope more of them get into it, because I think what it can do is really help make the craft spirits world and the marketplace a better place. And I think the possibilities with this technique of maturation and spirit making are tantamount to something that we haven't seen in the spirits world in a long time. I think truly this is innovative beyond innovation. And Tim is a true pioneer, and he's doing great things. Go on his website. It's Defiant Whiskey, and whiskey ain't spelled with no E neither. So it's DefiantWhisky.com, DefiantWhisky.com, and check out the story behind the spirit there, and try to seek it out. You can get it online for sure if it's not available in your state. I do know it's available here in Maryland, Delaware, and the District of Columbia. And I was so happy when our distributor turned me on to this product. Heck, I've been selling this at the store more than I've been selling the regular Scotch, and and loving every minute of it too. Check me out on YouTube. I'm E-Man Booze. You can find me on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and I write the Distillery of the Month column for MainStreetDistilleries.com. After the first of the year, maybe February or so, we're going to feature Defiant Whiskey as a Distillery of the Month, so watch for that soon. Also on MainStreetDistilleries.com, if you want to get yourself a little aging barrel like I have, you can get that on there. And they have a coupon code. If you type in E-Man, you don't need no dash or nothing, just type in E-M-A-N, you'll get free shipping and 10% off. So if you want to get, and I don't get nothing out of this, I'm just trying to help my friend Jeremy here at Main Street Distilleries. So go online and check out the barrels. You can get your own little barrel. We got some moonshine aging in here now that we're going to crack open at the end of the year. And heck, it's been in the barrel a week and a day now. I'm kind of curious to tap it, but I better not. I better wait. But on that note, get Defiant. Get your butt out there. Get yourself a bottle of Defiant whiskey. You will not be disappointed. If you like Scotch even this much, you're going to love this whiskey. Take my word for it. Bye, you all.